And I have my colleagues here, Matt Canavan, Barnaby Joyce and Colin Boyce. And today we wanted to talk about renewable energy. And I have massive concerns about what is going on in this nation with renewable energy. The wind towers that they want to put up right across this nation, particularly in central Queensland, and we saw the Premier making further announcements about that today. But what I really wanted to highlight was just in the north of my electorate, up at a place called Yungala, that the state government wanted to build this dirty big pumped hydro there, which they have spent $111 million on. More money on this pumped hydro. It looks like it's not going to go ahead. They have spent $40 million up there on getting people out of their houses on a project that probably won't proceed. So this race for reckless renewables is totally out of control. We need to be focusing on baseload power. Do we want all those wind towers everywhere in central Queensland? No, we don't. It is having major effects on our agriculture sector, on the family of farmers, and it is just really, really out of control. Besides from it being an eyesore, and then you have the talk of them putting them in the ocean. Well, we've got the Great Barrier Reef out there, so we certainly don't want that. But something needs to happen about this. It is totally out of control. They are just going hell for leather. They are spending billions and billions of dollars on this, and businesses coming to us daily saying we've got to close, we're nearly closing because the cost of electricity. So we're standing up today to talk about this renewable energy and the fact that this Labor government are just totally out of control on a state and federal level.
Give us the steps, sorry.
Are you ready? Okay. Whether you're in central New South Wales or whether you're in central Queensland, North Queensland, down to Gippsland, Tasmania, South Australia, there are two things. Probably a brief week, and the second thing is you're dealing with this filth, the cobweb of filth with transmission lines, and the wind farms. Why do we call them wind farms? What fruit doth grow from this tree? What is it? No apples or something, does it? It's bugs. What is it? It's not a farm. It's a multinational swindle factory, ripping off taxpayers, like polluting the landscape, and working on a guilt trip. A guilt trip for the kids to try and inspire the massive return they get from secret agreements. Mr. Bowen signs up for basically backdoor carbon taxes, which are now bringing in New South Wales, where you lose all your rights, creeping socialism coming onto the land. And the biggest thing is, they don't work. They don't work. I used to live at Charleville. You know what they had there? They had rain cannons. Rain cannons. Brilliant idea at the time. Absolutely brilliant idea. It's going to make it rain. It's just that you can still see them out there. They're rusting. They're out in the park. I mean, if we're going to do this, why don't we build Zerats? You could put them all over the countryside, or maybe the Metropolitan London Sepulchre. We could build that. That's another great idea. It just doesn't work. Now, what happens? This was pointed out to me by a famous former staffer. What happens is when you invest in where you make money, where you actually really make money, like Joe Yockey Peterson did in 1988 when he invested in this, beef wheat, you make money. It's magic. You make money. Hundreds of millions of dollars come in. But when you invest in basically a myth, when you invest in a swindle, when you create a tax act, when you do everything so that people from overseas see you and say, you are the most gullible person I've ever come across, I'm going to rip you off, then you get your swindle factories, and you get your solar factories, and you get your transmission lines. And you know what really matters? At the end of that line is a pensioner who can't pay their power bill. Is a person who's become poorer. And this myth ends up in misery for the person who we really, in a cost of living crisis, should be looking after.
Colin Boyce, Federal Member for Queensland. So I'm here at Beat 24 with my colleagues from Canberra, and we're trying to expose this reckless renewables that is happening right here in central Queensland. Just this morning, the Premier has announced $448 million for 2 hours of battery storage. It is insane, the cost of this renewable energy. Furthermore to that, in the budget next week, it's highly likely you will see the federal government further fund the hydrogen hub down at Gladstone. And what they require is 110 gigawatts of power. Now, just to expand on that to the listeners, 110 gigawatts of power is approximately double the entire generating capacity of Australia right now. They are proposing 10,000 wind turbines, 2,500 square kilometres of solar panels, and 45,000 megalitres of water to provide for a 4 million tonne hydrogen industry at Gladstone. This is insane. It just cannot happen, and we're here to call it out.
Well, it's great to be back at Beef again. 3 years ago, the biggest topic here at Beef was the fake meat scam. Everybody was worried about us all being made to eat bugs. The CSIRO issued a report saying we should eat bugs. Well, 3 years on, that scam's been exposed when no one wanted to eat a veggie burger or a bug burger, and no one's talking about it. The topic this time at Beef is the green energy scam. The scam that means that thousands of hectares, over 100,000 hectares in Queensland, is being destroyed in the irony of trying to save the environment. We are not going to save the planet by killing a koala bear. This is not going to work. We're not going to cool the temperature of the globe by destroying our own beautiful natural landscapes. There's also a scam where people are being paid money to take cattle off their properties and lock them up and take them away from productive land, take them away from employing fencing contractors, truck drivers, ringers. Those jobs are lost. And again, we are somewhat scammed into thinking that when you fly to London next, you are saving the planet by kicking cattle off what was otherwise productive land. The bush is up in arms about this green energy scam, and we've had lots of members of the government here this week. We've had the Prime Minister here, we've had the Agriculture Minister here, we've had other Cabinet Ministers here, and if they actually came here to listen, they would go back to Canberra and support our Senate inquiry into this massive rollout of renewable energy across our beautiful Australian landscapes. We've been pushing to have this Senate inquiry established for 2 years now. Almost every Tuesday we move a motion in the Senate to establish a Senate inquiry, just to give people a voice, just so that the people up here at Beef, the people affected by these investments, can have their voice heard, can go to Canberra and tell their side of the story. Well, if the Labor Prime Minister, if Anthony Albanese came here not to lecture us, but to listen to us, he would go back and support an inquiry and at least hear these concerns before he destroys over 100,000 hectares of beautiful Queensland landscapes.